Well, hello and welcome back, everybody. And we're here still making purchasing personal. Today's going to be a good one. As many of you know, TIPS is part of a public agency. That's what validates our competitive bids. That's what makes it to where we're able to service so many different types of public agencies as well. And so, for a deeper look into that process, we actually have two gentlemen with us today, our COO, Charlie Martin, and our executive director, Dr. David Fitz. So, Dr. Fitz, David, do you want to introduce yourself or say hello?
Thank you so much, Michael, for allowing me to be a part of this today, and the team and everybody. Super excited to be a part of it. I've been with Region 8 now for 12 years as executive director, and part of that, the TIPS interlocal purchasing system is a very integral part of our Region 8 Education Service Center, and just super excited to be with y'all today, and look forward to it.
Yeah. And Charlie, want to greet the people?
Yeah, how you guys doing? I'm Charlie Martin. I've been with TIPS since 2014. I'm a retired public school educator of 36 years, and have truly enjoyed my time here with TIPS. It's been eye-opening. It's been great meeting people across the country and talking about cooperative purchasing and how cooperative purchasing can help them in their school districts.
That's great, guys. Well, both of you, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedules. This is going national, David. So, for anyone outside of Texas, can you kind of give the out of state listeners a peek into what exactly is the Educational Service Center? What is Region 8? What are we obtaining here?
Well, in Texas, Michael, the state, I don't know if it's because of its sheer just size, but in 1967, the state was broken into 20 different regional education service centers. We basically are a middle agency between the state of Texas and the local school district. And we have 46 school districts in our area of jurisdiction at Region 8. We work with them. We do not have necessarily what you would call regulatory authority. We do have a lot of influence and things of that nature, but we work to help implement the initiatives of the Texas Education Agency. We work to implement the initiatives of the legislature. And also, we are governed by a board of directors, seven elected board of directors from our area. So we work with the 46 school districts in the northeast part of the state of Texas, and that's what our area is. But there are 19 other service areas, and kind of gives every area of the state kind of what I would call a hub, if you will, their own personal hub. So that's what it
No,
is.
no, that's great. So, Charlie, I'll have you explain. So, what's the connection of the lead agency for TIPS and Region 8, right?
For a cooperative to be legal in the state of Texas and actually nationally, you have to have a lead agency, and a lead agency has to be comprised of an entity that has an elected board. Okay,
Right.
Region 8 is not a taxing entity; it's a service entity. It's like Dr. Fitz said, it's under the umbrella of the TEA, but it does have an elected board, and that elected board has got a lot of authority, and their authority is to approve contracts. And so at TIPS, we need that lead agency to go forward to put forth our contracts, to have that lead agency look at those contracts and make sure they're within the scope of what they want to portray as Region 8. And so they also approve our memberships as well. Not only do they approve the contracts, the lead agency, they approve the membership as well.
Yeah. So, I guess, Charlie, what benefit does that serve to the agency to want to then piggyback off our contracts, right?
Well, the good thing about the agency is that, and why members want to piggyback off these contracts is because as a buying group or as a group, there's strength in numbers. Okay.
Yeah.
So at one time, the whole idea of why TIPS was being formed was because we had 46 school districts here in Region 8. All of them had procurement needs. All right. Those needs ranged anywhere from copying paper back in the day to bus parts and in between. Okay. So a lot of these school districts were out on their own trying to procure these things. And you guys know there's strength in numbers when you buy. And
Yeah.
cooperatives have been around forever. I mean, they've been around since the late 1800s. Started with farming cooperatives in Kansas, and so they've been around a long time. It's the same principle. So
Yep.
if you're a member of a large buying group, then you get a better break on buying in bulk. And so Region 8 figured out that to help their school districts, they would put a cooperative together and they started buying things like school furniture and copying paper in bulk. And the districts could come to them to procure those things. And so it just it just mushroomed from there. And it started out very small, and now it's gone. It went from a statewide thing to all the region service centers being a part of TIPS, all 20 of them, to now we're nationally known, recognized cooperative.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And so let's take a look into kind of behind the closed doors here. So uh for those of you who don't know, Tips is going out to competitive sealed RFPs about once a month in anywhere, we'll just say on average, probably 5 categories a month. Okay. In those categories, we'll do a multiple award based on scoring and evaluation, and we'll get into that here in a minute. But so what happens once vendors submit that bid and that bid closes? Everything from us opening the bids to reaching that board meeting in the next month, right? What's all happening internally? Y'all both can probably address that
So
in some capacity.
what happens is we have a schedule and it's put out pretty much a year in advance, and we know what month we're putting out certain things. Like January is our trades, labor, materials month, also our technology month, and we have 2, 3 other things that go with those. And like you said, the five. So we'll put those on our website. People will know when they're coming out. So January rolls around, and every month, like you said, Michael, we have different categories coming out. Uh, so those come out, those hit the street, and then what our prospective vendors they do is they go into OnWave, pre-register into OnWave. When that category hits the street, it dings their email. They know to respond, and then that's where the process starts. Okay, so that we run those for 6 weeks, and then we close them. When we close them, Michael, we'll have and it's usually on Friday at the close of business. We'll close those, and then everybody that's responded. And if you miss the deadline, you miss the deadline, and you may have to wait another year, sometimes 2 or 3 years to
Isn't
respond
that the
again.
truth?
But when that deadline closes, then our staff here that does contracts, our contract staffs, they open those. They go into the process. I'll give you a good example. We had over 500 uh, reply to trades. We had over 500 reply to technology. So that's a ton. That's a ton of vendors that are looking to get a contract, TIPS contract. Now, once it closes, we start vetting those. And so vetting those, and we do this with a rubric. And you have to score above a 70 um, to get awarded the contract. And it takes a while for us to vet all of those. Okay. And we try to vet those as thoroughly as we possibly can. And there's about, as far as the vendor goes, there's probably 80 to 90 questions that's that you have to answer. Everything from pricing that nobody's going to see but us. We look at things like reference letters, past history. If you're on the construction side, we look at things like what's your bonding capacity. So we look at a myriad of things that will get you moved towards scoring high on that rubric. Some things on that rubric are scored, have more are weighted, right? Uh, but there's also things on that that we look at. If you do not answer, you will not be pushed forward for a contract. So
Right.
once we get all those in, the bid closes. like I said, we go scoring those, and it may take us a couple of months uh, to get all those done. And then we start awarding the contracts. Once you get your contract, you'll have that contract number. You can go forward with that. Contracts are good for 3 years, and they work all over the country.
Exactly. So, David, obviously the lead agency has a role in all that process Charlie described. So, what does that look like in a board meeting when you're trying to approve, 600 vendors in one category or something like that?
Right.
Surely we've got it streamlined, but
We
those are
do.
questions people want to know.
Those are given out every month, Michael, to the board of directors after they've been vetted by our internal team, as Charlie
Yep.
pointed out, by our legal team.
Mhm.
Those are given to the board of directors ahead of the board meeting. If there are any questions, they are welcome to bring them, things of that nature, and we in one motion do all at the same time. But
Right.
those have been vetted, those have been proven. One of the things that we talk about a lot here with tips is we pride ourselves on having service with a smile, if you will. And one of the things that customers that use tips can guarantee, they have not only is there a legal component, not only they're highly skilled technical people inside this building that are looking at all of that data and information and vetting process, but we also have a board of directors and a leadership team that looks over that information, and you have a lot of different factors to make sure that we're being as compliant and as legal as we can. Ultimately, that helps both the members and ultimately the vendors as well.
Absolutely. I've always said out in the field, at the time of recording this, Tips has been doing this for 24 years and
Hmm.
we've never failed an audit yet.
So,
So that's a good thing to know. So, so Charlie, just taking a step back here, you mentioned some things that are scored and the evaluation process and things like that. And you also specifically hit something on that, like some things are weighted more than others, right? And this is a buying co-op, right? So what are maybe the top three things that an agency might have peace of mind about of what we're doing, but then also what are the top three things that a vendor especially wants to pay attention to if they're wanting to join the cooperative?
Reference letters.
Yeah,
References are key. Uh, if you've got a past history, and here's the thing, Michael, there's a lot of people that you have to start a business somewhere, right?
right,
And sometimes you don't have the references that somebody that's been in business 20 years has. And so
right.
we kind of take that into account. But if you've got some reference letters where school districts have said, hey, this company's came in, they performed this work, they were extraordinary, they did exactly what they were going to say, that goes a long way. That's weighted. Okay. Bonding capacity is another one if you're on the construction side. Some of these projects that, like a roofing project or a turf project, can be quite expensive. And so uh, the district needs to know that have the peace of mind that you have the bonding capacity if something were to happen, that you can take care of this project for whatever reason. So that is weighted a lot. So those are a couple of things that we look at extensively. Uh, History. When I say history, how long have you been in business? Okay.
Yeah,
Is there anything in your past history? I mean, because schools these days, Michael, there's a really big push for security, correct? So
oh,
they
yeah.
want to know who comes on their campuses. And so we get into things like, okay, um, you're going to have subs doing certain things. We want to know
Mhm.
these people have to pass a background check. All right.
Yes.
We want to know our vendors have people working for them that can pass a background check, that can go onto a campus, perform the work, and we're not going to have an issue. So those are three things just off the top of my head that are very, very important that our members look at.
Yeah.
They want somebody that's going to stand behind their work. They want somebody that's been in business a while. They want somebody that has bonding capacity, make sure the job gets done. And on top of that, they want a good price.
Yep.
So pricing's always a component in this. Like I said, we don't share. We're a multiple award co-op. We don't share pricing amongst uh, vendors. Nobody can look at your pricing, but now our members can. All right, they can look at your pricing and they can see whether they want to decide to move forward with the project. And not everything all schools do is based on lowest bid or lowest cost. Sometimes it is, but pricing is also a big component.
Right. And, I like Tips's minimum discount model as well because this is big, especially in our furniture category for some reason, right? Is where they'll might have various manufacturers or different product lines that can have exceeding discounts based off of what's, you know, given as a minimum discount on the contract. And at each agency's level, they're able to further negotiate the
Right.
tips pricing. So the pricing component is great as well because tips is giving you a better starting place.
Yeah.
And if you can negotiate with your dealer on quantity or just scope or whatever you might be able to negotiate down to, tips is always going to allow that.
Okay.
But yes, all those other things other than what a price is definitely important. Were you gonna add something, Charlie?
Yeah, I think you brought up a very good point on the pricing aspect of it. Um, we tell our vendors offer a discount. Okay. So if you're
Right.
a tips member, make sure you ask, hey, am I getting the tips discount? Okay. That's for sure. The other thing is when you go down that road, um, negotiations are just getting started. Okay. There's nothing that says you can't,
Yeah.
there's the price. There's nothing that says that you can't negotiate that further. Terms, conditions, whether it's like furniture you're talking about. We were talking about this earlier this morning, me and Dr. Fitz, about shipping and setup and things like that on
Sure.
furniture. That's a kind of a hidden cost. And so you want to make sure that you negotiate those things. You may have a price, but that's just kind of where the starting point is.
Yeah. So maybe switching back to Dr. Fitz here. Um, how does the whole process maybe ensure like fairness and consistency across these vendors, right? If you mentioned we're multiple work co-op, you've mentioned that each vendor kind of, competitively solicits their own discount. What are we doing and how are we maintaining fairness across the co-op?
Well, it's kind of like what Charlie has pointed out, and kind of what I iterated earlier. You you have a supreme vetting process, you have a
Yep.
legal process, but the vendors in my 12 years of being the executive director here of Region 8, and ultimately, over any facet here at Region 8, including tips, we have had uh, very few situations where a vendor was upset about anything. We've been
Right.
truly blessed, and that comes from the people that are associated with tips. You cannot have a great organization like tips without great people. And
Mhm.
our people work very hard to make sure that our vendors are in compliance, to make sure that our vendors are being fair, and to make sure our vendors are taken care of. And if I was a company, that's what I would want in a purchasing cooperative.
Yeah.
And we work hard to make that happen. And um, we like to make money like the next person, but we also want to do it the right way. And
Yes.
that's what we pride ourselves on.
Absolutely. Well said. Well said. And probably you can elaborate on this, Charlie. At the very baseline of what tips is, there's a higher bar already in place. And that's how each PO that goes through gets a pricing verification done.
Correct.
After the award, after an agency has decided to buy from one of our vendors, can you quickly touch on like the pricing verification process for anyone that doesn't know about it?
Sure. I give you a great example. Your school district, you built a new elementary campus. You need 40, say, uh, cafeteria tables, in your cafeteria. And so, uh, first off, don't go look in the catalog, okay? Because catalog pricing and what tips pricing is is two different worlds. Okay.
Right.
You can go into our public website in our member portal. You can type in the vendors that the furniture vendors that have hold the tips contract, and you can spec out what you want on those cafeteria tables. Hey, I need 40 of these. They need to be 18 feet long. They need to break in the middle. They need to have stools on them, all of that. Within 24 hours, these vendors, if you click on them and ask them to respond, within 24 hours, they should come back to you and give you a price on what they'll do that for. Okay. So that keeps somebody from having to come to your office and take up your time. You can go out and price those kind of things, and get those shipped directly to your school district without ever having to leave your office. You know, uh, but like Dr. Fuchs says, we want a quality vendor. We want a vendor that's going to take care of our member. If you don't take care of our member and we hear about it, then we're going to try to rectify the situation, or fix the situation. And we have that on occasion, but we don't have it a lot. Um, you know, we deal 80% of our business, Michael, is public school districts. We do some cities, county stuff, but we do a lot of business with school districts across this country. And what we want to do is we want to save school districts money. All right. We're not big on change orders. The price is the price, right? And
Right.
we realize that sometimes that's a floating thing because of tariffs or whatever reason, what's going on in the world, that sometimes our vendors can't control. But yet they can come back to us, and if we need to adjust something, they can. But what we
Right.
try to do is we try to save money for school districts. Uh, and if I can save I've always said this: if I can save a school district enough money on a purchase, especially a large purchase, they can save enough money to hire a teacher's aide or pay for a teacher's salary that year, then I've done my job. Because
Right.
we're ran by school people. This cooperative is ran by school people. It was put together by school people, and so we know school better than just about anybody in the cooperative world and what their needs are. And so, when you're dealing with us, just think of this: you're dealing with school people who understand where you're coming from and what you need.
Right. I mean, that hit the nail on the head. And so, yes, that pricing verification or any problems that come up. I mean, we've run the gambit on problems, Charlie
Yeah,
and David, haven't we?
yeah.
But
And
I
like I
mean,
said,
so
all you have
go
to
ahead.
do, Michael, is if you want a price check on those 40 cafeteria tables, hey, just send that to our PO department. They'll look at that, make sure that that vendor is compliant with their contract, and
Yep.
they'll let you know that, hey, yeah, that it is within their contract, the pricing's correct, or it's not. So you got a little price verification there that a lot of cooperatives aren't going to take the time to give you the service to let you know.
Right. I was just talking with a Northern Missouri district who was wanting to get something on Tip's letterhead, walking into the board, getting a construction project done, and construction gets all the attention, right? Because it's its own animal. I mean, it's the reason we created the Tips construction division on its own, right? But so they were able to, I said, well, have you ever submitted your contracts and pricing and purchases for the price verification? And he said, what is that? And so it's like, well, every PO you send through Tips has the ability to get verified, and I like it because it's with Tips letterhead. It tells you the time of purchase, that the vendor didn't for some reason lose their contract, that the pricing's good, and on that one page is what you can hand over to an auditor 5, 7, 10 years down the road, and boom, they've got it, right? That
Well,
that
it's
document,
peace of mind.
it is peace of mind. That
It's peace of
document has
mind and
saved
it's
more
compliance.
audits
Right.
than I can count, probably. So everything up until now, we've kind of talked about maybe the perfect scenarios, right? Of what vendors doing what things. So maybe Charlie or David, you surely have your encounters as well. What are some common misconceptions that we're seeing, maybe in the office or maybe as you're out meeting people about how Tips operates or even how we award our contracts?
You want to? I'll let Dr. Fitz weigh in on that first, and then I'll pick it up.
Well, as far as misconceptions and things of that nature, I think we have done a good job of educating uh, school districts under our purview here in Region 8
Yeah,
about what TIPS is. I mean, 24 years ago it was created. It's hard a lot of times for people to understand a purchasing cooperative and how they work, and there has
yeah,
to be a lot of trust involved. And once you build that trust, and we go through like what Charlie was just talking about, the verification process and the verification letter and things of that nature, I really have not heard a lot about necessarily a lot of misconceptions. I think sometimes there might be some misinformation that gets construed wrong, and then we come
sure.
in and our people, our program managers, the people associated with our TIPS construction team, uh, anybody associated with the TIPS, our internal team, they do a great job about making sure that any misinformation, if we know about it, we try to act on it and make sure that those members or vendors know the actual dynamics of what we're dealing with in
Right.
tips, how it can help them. It can be a win-win for both parties. That's part of the beauty of the process of purchasing cooperatives. If there is
Sure.
any misinformation, we do our best to try to rectify that and make sure the information is correct, accurate, and understandable for the person.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Education's key. We continually have to educate people in the procurement world on about use of cooperative and how it helps them. Um, School districts change personnel continually. Our vendors change personnel continually. And so we're
Yes.
always having to educate both sides of that on how to use the cooperative contract. Okay.
Right.
As far as misconceptions go, my biggest one is not all cooperatives are the same. Okay. So
Yeah.
now, hey, join all the cooperatives you want to in the school world. That's fine, but they're not all the same. Number one, if somebody is trying to charge you to join a cooperative, you don't want to join. Okay. To
Yeah.
join TIP, it's free. It doesn't cost you a thing. It doesn't obligate you to anything. The other misconception is the fees are all the same. They're not. The devil is in the details on the contracts. So if you're a procurement person and you're looking to buy those whatever HVAC unit for your elementary campus, you need to look at the fees and what that contract states in there, because that's not always equal. You know, some cooperatives have higher fees than others. So I would say that would probably be the biggest conception. Last thing, not all state laws are the same. Okay, as far as using cooperatives, there's different laws in different states, and so you have to know those. And we have a legal team, and that one of the first things they'll tell you is make sure you talk to your legal counsel there in your district as to what you need to do to move your project forward, whether it's with a cooperative or not.
Right. And just to clarify one thing before I add to it, those fees you're talking about, those are fees incurred by the vendor, right? At least for tips, right? To use a tips contract as well, there's no cost ever to an agency that's billed by tips, right? So when you run into that, and what was explaining is there may be vendors who prefer, well, I'd rather put this through tips, right? Because on the back end, tips may be charging a lesser fee to them to then use the cooperative, right? So that's part of our thing. And then I'll just add one more misconception for the vendors out there. Okay, this is to the vendors who are wanting to join tips. To sign up and register an Iron Wave is not enough to join tips.
Right.
Okay.
It's just getting
We
started.
get that all the time, and there is a essentially a two-step process to joining tips. Okay. You must register an Iron Wave, and that's only step one. And then at step two, when the appropriate solicitation or bid goes out, you must respond to that bid. I have so many in the field, and Charlie, I'm sure you experience as well, where they say, "Look, I've been set up with tips for 6 months, 14 months, 2 years, right?" And I come across and I look into it, and I said, you guys only completed step 1 out of 2. We gotta get step 2 done here before we can
Yeah.
do anything else, right?
Yeah,
That's
and
a
guess
huge
what? We
misconception.
can track every bit of that too. So once they get into OnWave, we can the day they get into OnWave, we can track how long and how much time they spent
Yep.
there and how much when they roll into step 2, as you call it, how much time they spend on that.
Right, and again, it all falls back into, the one word that you mentioned, Charlie, was education.
Mhm.
We are out, and not just us 3, the entire TIPS mantra is we can educate people who need to use a cooperative and people who want to service those people, our vendors, right? The education component on tips, I feel, is top notch, right? You've just got to get in communication with us, right? So we've got an onboarding team, we've got the accounting team, PO team, program managers in the field, right? All the way up to the top. I mean, every single one of us are working on that one word, and that's educating vendors and agencies on the process. So
And,
that's great.
and Michael, we also have a construction wing of tips,
Oh,
which
yeah.
honestly, I think this is the thing that sets us apart from all cooperatives, not most, all cooperatives. We have a dedicated construction wing in tips that if you're doing HVAC, if you're doing renovation, if you're doing roofing, turf, any of those big ticket things like that, parking lots, etc. If it's a job order contract, whether it's part 1 or part 2, and we can get into that later, uh, we have a dedicated wing of people who take care of that. There's more paperwork that goes along with that. There's more eyes that train on those kind of projects because they're big ticket projects.
Sure.
So we can help you with your compliance on that, and we have a dedicated team that's all they deal with on a daily basis.
Yeah. That's amazing. And so to kinda, I guess, maybe wrap this up, a little more forward thinking, future thinking for anyone that might be interested. And I mean, our agencies are vetted in the success of tips. Our vendors are vetted in the success of tips. So what is Tips and Region 8 doing? We've talked about the relationship, we've talked about the integrity and all that stuff. What is Region 8 doing to keep this going, to keep growing and to see where tips can go in the next, you know, months, years, decades?
Good question. We are continually monitoring and assessing where we are,
Yeah.
continually monitoring where the market is. Of course, uh, you also monitor where your sisters and brothers are in the field that are working and doing and but the main thing is and like to give Mr. Martin a lot of credit for this. We have a lot of goals within our tips organization, and our sales manager, Jensen Maid, uh,
Yeah.
sales director, he has a lot of goals for our tips department, and we're continually tracking and monitoring that, doing formative assessments as the year goes along. Where are we? We give quarterly reports. Well, we give monthly reports to our board of directors.
Yeah.
Uh, we also give quarterly reports of how we're doing in that quarter versus the quarter from the previous year. We're continually like, do we need additional personnel? Do we need additional internal people? What do we need to do to continue to grow? And I think, uh, we're a great organization, and that's the way we want to stay. But once you've been to the mountaintop, you want to stay, the work doesn't go away. You have to
No,
continue to
That's
work,
true.
and that's we have a lot of good people. We're going to continue to hire good people. That's key a lot to our success. And Charlie made a very good point earlier. Not all purchasing cooperatives are the same. That is a misconception out there. And what sets us apart is our ability to deal with people with our hearts, but also with our heads. We help them with our service, and we also help them to make sure that they are legal. And it's truly a great organization. It's been built by a lot of great people. David Babe's been associated with it now for right at a quarter of a century. But we have a lot of great people that have worked on tips through the years to get it where it is. And we don't want it to go back. We want it to continue to grow, if you know, like anything.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Charlie, did you have anything in closing?
Yeah. This thing started with a fax machine and a telephone, and
Mhm.
a long time ago. And I look at how much it's grown. And I give Dr. Fitz a lot of credit. He's allowed us to stage up as we have grown. And the bigger we get, the more people we require. You just look at the construction wing of TIPS, and where that started with just one or two, three people. Now that has grown to, I think he's probably got 10 or 11 people there on that side. Uh, Dr. Fitz has allowed us to stage up on our internals in our internal side with our PMs, and so we continually try to as we grow do that. And here's what, and he did a really good job of pointing all that out. But here's one thing else I want to point out, that at Tips, we want to be a good citizen. Okay, when I say a good citizen, we want to do things that support organizations that support kids. And because Region 8, we're all about kids. We're all about supporting school districts that support kids, that and to put out a really good product, which that's that student who walks across the stage. And so we do all kinds of things, whether it's supporting people uh, who come here for training, buying them lunch. We do scholarship programs. We participate in all those scholarship golf tournaments. Uh, we participate in a ton of those, and it's not just here in Region 8. It's across the state. It's across the nation, because we are a nationwide cooperative, and we have nationwide vendors, and we have members all over this country. And so when they ask and they need support, we don't mind doing our part, because we want to turn out a good product, and that product is a good student.
That's phenomenal. And that goes for all the agencies. Yeah, schools are a big part, but that's the same. It's the same mantra for municipalities. It's the same mantra for nonprofits. They're making the public spaces better, right? And we're personally trying to help achieve their missions, right? So, I will say this: I am so thankful that y'all would join the call today and join the podcast. Truly, it is exciting to see where Tips is going and what Tips is doing. And I'll say this, if you're still listening, if you want to become an agency of Tips and utilize our cooperative contracts, in this episode, we express it directly. It is free to sign up and free to use the contracts, right? So join those 14,000 plus agencies now who are readily available and using our contracts. If you would like to become a Tips vendor and service those agencies, respond to one of those competitively solicited bids. We'll put the link here up on the screen so that you can see our bid schedule and how to register in our e-procurement system, and talk to a program manager where you're located. They're going to be the best way to explain that process and how to respond appropriately to your Tips contract category. Well, that's all the time we have today. We want to thank you for joining in, and until next time, keep making purchasing personal.